So we've also been mentioning Declan Rice just now. Do we think this was quite possibly his best game of the season so far?
I did, yeah. I thought that was his best performance of the season. I've been a little bit disappointed with Declan Rice's form this season. I don't think he's been bad by any stretch of the imagination. He's been okay. And I think that most of us would have expected him to maybe accelerate his own development under Mikel Arteta a little bit quicker. Because I think there's a big ceiling for Declan Rice. It might be that he's been, not settled into one position. He's having to play holding midfielder one day, then it's a box-to-box the next. I thought he was really calm, and I think that he had a presence about him in this game. He was up against guys like McAllister and Gravenberch. Gravenberch's been one of the best midfielders in the division this season, and he owned him. Our midfield too were considerably stronger, I thought, than Liverpool's. So it bodes well, I think, moving forwards. And what about the delivery for the goal? Declan Rice's delivery. That was one of the crosses of the season. You will not find a better set-piece cross all season. It was absolute perfection in terms of the trajectory, the pace, the whip on it. All I'll say is that it wasn't perfect for Mourinho, because Mourinho had to stoop. That's the only sort of reason why I'd say it's not a 10 out of 10. It's maybe a 9.8 because he's had to stoop for the header. But it was absolutely unplayable, that ball, and it wasn't the only one that he delivered.
Yeah, what I like about Rice is he turns up in adversity. So like at Bournemouth, when we went down to 10, I thought he had a really strong period in that period. When the games are easy, I think he just goes through it a little bit. Yeah. And but when it gets hard and he needs to turn up, that's when I think he's at his best. He needs to be stretched and pulled around and really have a proper opponent against him. Then he says, no, this is my area, and he takes it. And I was impressed with all three of those players, Marino, Rice and Partey. I thought we stood up Liverpool in an area where I thought we might have a bit of trouble. Based on all the things I'd read and seen, I thought, oh, how are we going to do? But I thought we owned it. I thought we did.
Then we obviously have Newcastle on Saturday. So these big games just keep coming in thick and fast. What are we thinking about that one?
It's a test, isn't it? It is a test. I mean, Newcastle at home have a terrific record. They will give anyone. I know they're having a difficult time. They're not winning games, but they have very good forward line. I know Anthony Gordon was missing, wasn't he, for the last match? Let's hope, from an Arsenal point of view, that he's not recovered. That said, Harvey Barnes is a top player, Murphy too. So with Isak up front, so no, I think going forward, Newcastle have got a lot of quality. It's just, I think we can get at their back four, but St James's Park is tough. It doesn't matter what sort of form they're in. It's a tough place, and we've had difficult examinations there. So
we are the enemy to them.
Yeah,
they don't like us, and so they're having a bit of a rough time. But sometimes Arsenal can recover it for you. Yeah. It's a bit like Spurs going to Palace. Palace were struggling, then Spurs turned up and gave them their first win of the season. I think if they were to beat us, that's all they need to get back on track. So we need to be ultra competitive and aggressive, particularly in midfield with Joe Linton. I think he's a very strong player. Tonali, good player. Bruno's a good player. That three is a decent three, so we have to match them in physicality and really get around them.
We've just talked about it with Rice and Marino and Partey. I think we can match them in there.
We can do, definitely. And it is all about the health of our wide men again against their fullbacks. I think we can definitely take them. They're quite young in fullback areas, so we can definitely take them there.
So on Clive's point, do we owe it to them?
We need to win.
Yeah.
We need to win. I wasn't... Liverpool, given the state of the game, I didn't say we needed to win that game, but we got 3 big away games coming up, and the first one needs to go well. It does. The second one will take care of itself. But the first one creates momentum for the other 2, so it's a very important game.
So after the performance, obviously, last night with Liverpool, how are you feeling then for the Newcastle game?
I'm quite confident.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think when we went up to Newcastle a couple of years ago, when they'd just been taken over, that whole kind of hysteria about the manager and the new owners, and they were going to sign all the best players, I almost feel like that's gone now, and they're almost levelling out now, so we know what Newcastle are about. But I think if the Newcastle players and the supporters had watched Arsenal against Liverpool, they'd go, OK, even when they've been decimated by injuries, they've still found a way to get a result against one of the best teams in the country. So I would be a little bit like, OK, this is a different Arsenal. And then when you start, hopefully some of these players come back from injury and they're not too bad, I'm pretty positive going up there. I think if Arsenal start fast, because that's one thing about playing at St James's Park, you have to start fast because they come out of the track, it's loud in there, they come out really quick, they put you under pressure, and it could be a long 90 minutes. I think if Arsenal go there, dominate possession, just that calming influence, then it could make the game easy for you.
You just sort of took the words out of my mouth. It is taking control of the game.
Yeah,
It's absolutely taking control of the game here. Quieting the crowd, not playing in their half, without obviously leaving ourselves exposed to the pace of ESAP. Because Newcastle aren't a possession-based team. They'll be quite happy to sit in and break quickly on Arsenal. And, you know, I'm just worried about the personnel that we're going to have available for the game. That's my only fear. I think going forward, we can absolutely create chances against them and potentially win the game. But, yeah, it's a tough test. Clive's bang on. Win that one, and the other games that follow become easier.
But it's a 12:30 kickoff, so it's nice and early. People are still having their breakfast. Do you think it's not going to be obviously as loud under the lights then?
Oh my goodness, have you been there? Honestly,
No, I haven't.
if a game was 3 a.m, it'd be loud. It's so loud in there all the time, and their fans, and fair play to them, they are one of the best fan bases in the country probably. They travel home and away. But at 12:30 early, that means they are right up for it. I mean, spending a bit of time up there myself in that region, it's all about football. That's all they care about.
Yeah, the atmosphere's on, but it was one of my first team games for Arsenal was at St James's Park, and that was the year they almost won the title. You know, it's Ginola down the way. It was intimidating. It's a really tough place to play. What I will say is that Eddie Howe is under a little bit of pressure at the moment. It's not completely stable, and there are one or two doubts creeping in. And the team, their confidence might have been knocked by the fact that they haven't picked up wins of late. So it might be a good time for us to go there. If we get that early goal, Newcastle's players might shrink a little bit, and that will only help Arsenal.
Yeah, I'd agree. I was watching their Chelsea game yesterday. They don't look quite as compact as they did, not quite as aggressive to the ball. Chelsea were finding passes through them. And I thought, well, we see defenders running back towards their goal. That's not a good look. So I'm hopeful that we have got the ability to find spaces down the sides and get around them. And so, yeah, it's getting to their back line. But then, as Adrian just said, who's going to be in our back line? I think that's the dilemma. So.
Well, we are yet to find out. And Adrian, it's good memories to you then this weekend, seeing as it was one of your first games at Arsenal, so...
Yeah, no, look, it's a great fixture. It's a great fixture. And Arsenal have had a pretty good record there down the years in recent history. So, yeah, let's hope we can go and deliver a statement win. Clean sheet win, which is what Arteta's Arsenal on the road pick up clean sheet wins. That's what I'm looking for on Saturday lunchtime.
Clean sheet win. Absolutely. Please, Arsenal. So that's all we've got time for this week. A huge thanks to Darren Bent, Clive Palmer and Adrian Clark. We'll see you next week. And remember, trust the process.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.